Real Squad, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you a wholesaling success story from beginning to end, how I found the deal, closing the deal, and success tips, and just what I learned from it. Even to this day, I still learn for each transaction, so stay tuned. And for those of you that are new to the channel and new to wholesaling, wholesaling is basically where you get a property under contract. It's with you and the it's a contract with you as the buyer and with the homeowner of the house. And then basically when you wholesale it, basically what we're saying is you sell that contract to someone else that we usually call a cash buyer, and that person pays you a fee for basically selling the rights to that contract. Okay, so basically I found this deal from direct mail, and if you're new to the channel, I love direct mail. It's how I have gotten majority of my deals. It's how I've basically built my real estate business over the years. So there's tons of different ways to market. People always ask me for the best way to market, and direct mail, I have tried a lot of different marketing techniques. Direct mail is just one that I have been consistent with, which is key. Like basically every single marketing method works, but you have to pick one that you're going to be consistent and follow up with your leads and things like that. And for direct mail, I've been good with that, with getting my list and sending mail out and following up. So over the years, I've been consistent with direct mail, and so that is how I got it. So basically for me, I sent out a letter. I market to people that are behind on their mortgage. Basically the list, there's several different places you can get the list. I get the list. I'm gonna have to insert it here. I think it's Sit Ricardo or something like that, but I'll look it up so I make sure I put the correct link when I do the video. And basically the list that I purchase is people that are at least 90 days late. So here I'm in Virginia, so over 90 days late, people are usually about to get some type of trigger for like a pre-foreclosure status. So you have to check like in your state if you're doing late, kind of like each state, their pre-foreclosure process is different and the timelines are different. What I would recommend that I have learned over the years dealing with purchasing lists with people that are late is that people that are 30 and 60 days late usually just go ahead and catch up on their mortgage. Very rarely, do I get deals with those. So that's why now when I purchase a list, I purchase 90 days or more late, because I have found over the years that usually ends up being a list that contains leads of people that they cannot catch up on their mortgage payments on their own. Okay, so I send out a letter to people that are late, basically saying that I offer help, I offer assistance. A lot of what I do is just education, because for what the type of information that I provide to people, because most people in my market that are late, they don't really know like what is going on. They're kind of like, I never thought I would be in this situation. So they usually have a lot of questions like, what are my options? A lot of my marketing is explaining what the options are, and then after I have that first consultation, which I provide for free, we can go from there. So basically what I do, I send that letter, they'll call me in. What I would suggest when people call in, at least have top questions that you definitely want to collect information and know what is the next step. So a lot of times people are like, what do I say when people call? Well, it totally depends. That's why I say you have to pick a niche. You have to pick a niche, meaning there's a specific area of the market that you're focusing on, because every niche you would have different questions. So like if I'm doing pre-foreclosures and a pre-foreclosure lead calls me, one of the first questions I need to ask is, do you have an auction date? If you have an auction date, when is your auction date? Because that's really critical. I've had people call me, their auction date is the next day. So that definitely changes how the conversation can go. So that's why I say you have to pick a niche, because the questions that I ask for pre-foreclosure are not going to be the same questions that I would ask someone that's calling me like from a probate lead or something something like that. So you have to pick a niche so that you can specialize in that niche and help people in that niche. Now, so for me doing pre-foreclosures, the top questions that I ask people, hold on, let me make sure this thing is actually focusing. That's the thing with doing YouTube videos. You guys probably don't know. Worst thing that can happen, you film an entire video and then when you put it in to watch it, it's out of focus. Annoying. So yeah, so top questions that I ask people when they call me, for instance, are, you know, do you have an auction date, like a date where the bank is going to sell the house? If you do, what is that date? And I also ask them who's the lender, because the lender determines a lot of like the loss mitigation options that are available, because each lender has different requirements, different time frames for different things, for when they'll stop the auction, for the different methods to stop the auction and things like that. So that's what I'm saying. You got to pick a niche. You got to pick a niche. You got to pick a niche. So once I do that, this particular lead, they called in to one of my pre-foreclosure letters, and you know, I went through the consultation, and they have equity. For wholesaling, the house must have some type of equity for it to work, because most people that you're going to sell it to for like a cash buyer, they're going to either want to renovate that house to flip it, or they at least may want to renovate it and keep it as a rental, and still they're going to want to have some type of equity. So you want to, when people call you in to any type of response or any conversation with wholesaling, to determine how much the house is worth and how much they owe the bank if they do have a mortgage and things like that. So this one, they did have equity, and so that's how the location that it is really good. And I knew a cash buyer, I was like, I think he's probably going to be interested. So next step is that I'll go over to the house to see the condition the house is in, and that's when I estimate repairs. Once I estimate repairs, then I know, okay, what price does this work that I need to get it under contract, and then be able to sell this contract for a fee, so that it's still with my additional fee included a deal. Okay, so that's the key there, because you have to sell something that still has equity, because say the property has 80,000 equity. Yes, there are times you could get humongous wholesale fees, and you could get a wholesale fee for 80K. But if your wholesale fee is 80K and the equity in the property is 80K, then when you sell it, it's really no longer a deal. So that's why you have to still leave some, you know, some equity and some room in there to sell it, so that someone else will even be interested in selling it. Okay, so boom, I got a cash buyer. I've been wholesaling for a while, so my cash buyer list is way bigger than any amount of deals I could have. Like my cash buyer list, like it's like over 1,000 people on the list. So now what I do is I just work with a really small group of cash buyers, that I could trust, that don't go behind my back, that don't try to kick me out the deal, just stuff like that I don't want to deal with. So a lot of times now people will come to me and they ask me for deals and stuff like that. I don't want to be mean, but you know, basically I just tell them I just already have cash buyers. I'm just not looking to grow my cash buyer list, because I have been screwed from people, or certain people don't work the same way that I work, and I just don't want to deal with the drama of people that are not stuck, but they have a method that works for them and they want to stick to that method, right? And it may not be my method, but I don't want to be, that's what I've learned, I don't want to be in transactions where we're competing over the method to use. I just want to do my thing and keep going, and meanwhile I'm looking for other deals, because dealing with the drama within a deal, it's just wasted time for me. And I'm just kind of to the point now where I'm like, if you want things a certain way, just go and get your own deal and do your own thing. I don't really see the reason to go back and forth with cash buyers over anything. So if it's not somebody that wants to do things the way I want to do it, I just do not work with them. So that's, like I said, that's just my method to calm down the madness that can happen when you're, you know, dealing with, you already have a distressed seller, already have the drama of that that I'm usually trying to strategize and get us to closing, the last thing I need and that have had to deal with in the past is when you get a cash buyer that also brings drama. It's like, just cut them, okay? So now that's why I said I only work with a really small group of cash buyers, because literally, we're just always on the same page and we're not going back and forth fighting with each other, and then I'm dealing with the seller as well, okay? So just on point, things that I have learned, like I said, over the years, is like, scrutinize your cash buyer list. There's way more cash buyers than deals, so don't waste your time dealing with people that are difficult to work with. It's in the distressed property market, I would say it's not worth it, because it's just not worth it. Traditional sales is worth it to deal with the drama and get to that. People are paying full price for houses and things like that. It's worth it to deal with the drama, but in the distressed market, to me, it's not worth it. Okay, so boom, get the cash buyer there. The way my cash buyer works is he's gonna send his contractor there. Contractor's gonna give him an estimate to renovate the house. As long as he's cool with that, he signs, we're good to go. We send the paperwork to the settlement company. Settlement company starts pulling for any liens, anything like that. Plus, I, on my end, had already had the settlement company from the beginning when I first spoke with the homeowner, pulling the title to see, if the liens are correct. They'll automatically start searching it for me to see if we don't get any surprises for liens, because one of the ones that can really mess you up is HOA, because HOA liens have to be paid to get to closing. So say, you negotiate a great deal, but then when they pull it, there's a lien, HOA is $20K. Somebody has to pay that bill for us to get to closing. So things like that are what we're checking. And then once that's all clear, literally for my wholesale deals, I don't even go to closing. That's the beauty also of dealing with over and over the same settlement company and over the same cash buyers, is I don't even go to settlement. They take care of everything. Like I said, it's people that I trust. They're not trying to screw me, so I don't even go to settlement. They'll email me the alter statement so I could go through the closing, make sure everything's good. I go over it with the seller, blah blah blah, and they go to closing and they close, and the settlement company just wires me my wholesale fee. So it's like so simple, right? When you get all the parts to work, it's so simple. So was there drama in the deal? There's always some drama in the deal. And for this particular one, what came up, like I said, when they pulled that title in the beginning, there was an HOA lien. So I had to go back to negotiate the price down a little bit less so that we could also pay the HOA that lien amount and get to closing. So that's the thing too, is you have to, all the liens, if there's a lien on a house, all those liens usually are going to need to be cleared before somebody else is going to want to buy it, because they don't want to buy a house with a bunch of liens on it. But also I wanted to just mention that, because that's like some of the drama that I've gotten before, is that either people are new to traditional sales, if they're used to doing traditional sales, a traditional real estate transaction, the buyer would never offer to pay the seller's HOA. Like, why am I paying your bills? That's one of the reasons too that I stopped working with people that that I'm just not used to working with, is because in the distress market, a lot of times to get to closing, the buyer has to pay some of the seller's accounts and bills so we can get to closing, right? So basically what we do is we work the numbers so that even with the buyer paying, this is someone else's bill, this is someone else's HOA bill, even with the buyer paying that, is still a deal. So that's what I'm saying. I've had transactions where the cash buyer started flipping out. Even if I went back and lowered the price, they were stuck on, why do I have to pay somebody else's bill? So that's what I'm saying. When you meet cash buyers that are willing to work the way you want to work, just keep your team small. of people you want to work with, because that's just unnecessary drama. Because then I have to explain that, hey, even after you pay this HOA bill, you still gonna make $100,000. You know what I mean? So that's some of the stuff that I'm like, now I'm just to the point now, like I said, I've been doing this for a while, but now I'm to the point, that's something I don't want to be in the process of, like I said, dealing with trying to get the deal to closing and answering all these questions and drama with the actual cash buyer to keep the cash buyer happy. I just want a cash buyer that already knows stuff like that. You know what I mean? That already just knows, hey, go back, lower the price, I'll pay the HOA bill. You know what I mean? That's just what I need, because that also helps me to do more deals. Because the more time you stay in the same deal trying to fix all the drama, you can't work on another deal. You know what I mean? So I just want to get in, get out, close, and I'm on to the next one, right? So that's my tip, and stay tuned. I just want to let you know that, you know, just everyday wholesaling stories, just want to share it with you and let you know what I have learned, tips to help you that you could get wholesale deals and things like that. I'll see you next video. Bye bye.